radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening. Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah, man. All right. Let's do this. It's Fade to Black. Today's Tuesday, January 15th, 2019. 15 days into the new year, just 350 days left. We are live from a bunker somewhere in the middle of beautiful downtown Burbank, California. And I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the planet. I am your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? Apparently, it's Taco Tuesday. Yeah, if I'm judging from the tweets that are flooding in already. Good evening, everybody. How you doing? Great week on the show. That's right. Great week. Tonight, Linda Moulton Howe joins us. We've got a lot to talk about tonight with Linda, and we're going to go over some of the big stories for her in 2018, and certainly she closed out the year really, really strong. So I'm going to go and visit these very important research topics for her, and also taking a look ahead into 2019. All right, so that's what we are going to do tonight. Always great when Linda is on the show with us. And one of the fun things that I like to do with Linda, and I know she appreciates this too as well, is to get her out of the box. Get her outside of the box, because her opinions and her thoughts and how she looks at things, and get to that. Oh man, when I look back at some of the shows with her, where we just went left and right, or just some of the most amazing conversation ever on Fade to Black, and we are going to do that again tonight. Tomorrow night, Robert Schoch is joining us. There is so much that is going down right now, not only over in Egypt, which we will, of course, cover tomorrow night, but all around the world. And his research, oh man, right? And hanging out with him and Katie over the phone over the weekend was just I'm going to save what I was about to say for the show tomorrow night, because we had a couple of really, really cool and very funny moments, and we'll do that tomorrow night on the show. All right. Thursday night is another Fader night. Open lines all night long. Now, also, I do want to give a little bit of a public service announcement here and now. I'm going to try to get this ready by Fader night. Is a new phone system here which we are implementing, I should say. We are implementing and didn't quite get it done today. And that leaves tomorrow. I don't, of course, I wanted to get it ready by Fader night, so we'll see about that. And it's all about importing and moving phone numbers and, hardware and other things. So we're trying to get it done. Okay, we are trying to get it done. All right. Okay, so follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. That's what you want to do. Come join in on the conversation tonight. Hashtag F2B is the sandbox. And I tweeted it out. I was going to save it, but then I just decided, no, let's just do this. So during, as we were ramping up, getting the show online, I took a quick picture of me and the new chair. So there it is. Yeah, take a good look. There it is. Yeah. Quiet. Hasn't moved. Right? Hasn't moved. Very comfortable. So there you go. All right. So last night, that was brutal last night. I just gave up. So anyway, new chair. And where'd the sunglasses? Oh, that's what that's from. That's right. That's a funny pic. Okay, you guys are two. I keep forgetting that you guys can take screenshots with the bunker cam. That's pretty funny. Okay, all right. Where am I at? Head over to jimmychurchradio.com. Our new blazing website is up and flying, and it's great. So go and visit us over there, and then you can also follow, like, and subscribe all of our social media accounts. They are all over there. Of course, Twitter at JChurchRadio. We have two chat rooms, one over at Spreaker, one over at KGRA The Planet, and then, of course, Twitter, hashtag F2B is the sandbox. You can also email tonight or any other night during the day, Jimmy at jimmychurchradio.com. Lots of breaking news to cover. Let's get to this. Man, this new chair, this thing's cool. I can't get it. It doesn't, it's a racing chair, right? So it doesn't rock. It doesn't rock like that other chair. So I can't get it to rock. But you know what? Maybe I'll just behave. I don't get to rock anymore. Lots of breaking news. Let's get to it. A top North Korean negotiator will arrive in Washington, D.C. this Thursday and is apparently going to spend the night. We don't know what the message is, why he is arriving, or even if he will meet with President Trump. But the news is breaking now. It's very fluid. It's a fast-breaking story. And we will get you the latest as it develops. We'll see what happens by tomorrow. Big, big news in Washington, D.C. Much bigger than the Big Macs and Pizza Hut that were served at the White House. Okay. Also today, huge story. British Prime Minister Theresa May lost her Brexit vote today. She didn't just lose it. I mean, she lost it. And now there is a no confidence vote being presented against her. I watched it today live, and it was about as fascinating as it gets with reality TV. I know that I am doing breaking news here. I'm not supposed to interject my own commentary and opinion, but I will say this. Watching the British Parliament do politics is fascinating. Just imagine. I know they do it in some places around the world like that too as well. Just imagine if that's how it went down in Congress over here or Senate. Maybe we need it. Man, the boos, the yelling, that is just crazy. Fascinating to watch though. So what's up with Theresa May? What's going to go down? I know that the debate is going to continue tomorrow. What's going to happen with this no confidence vote? Is she out? Is that possible? And like I said, a couple of maybe about a month ago here on the show, Now, just imagine that, whatever president we have in office here, it doesn't matter who, any president, just one day wakes up, okay, today we're going to vote you out of office, right? Today, yesterday was cool, I know, but today we're just going to vote. We're going to vote. It's a lot of pressure. And maybe the British understand something that we don't. I don't know, but it's fascinating to watch on TV. Also, breaking news, and this may have gotten away from you. If you didn't catch it, well, you're going to catch it now. Roku has just added Alex Jones and InfoWars to its channel listing. Right? Mainstream media is not covering this. I am. And Roku released a statement defending its decision to give InfoWars a place on its platform by claiming a position of neutrality. According to Roku, the company has no commercial relationship with InfoWars and does not censor based on viewpoint. And the statement went on to continue. Now, listen to this, and I'm quoting here. While open to many voices, we have policies that prohibit the publication of content that is unlawful, incites illegal activities, or violates third-party rights, among other things. If we determine a channel violates these policies, it will be removed. To our knowledge, InfoWars is not currently in violation of these content policies, end quote. Now, if memory serves correct, that was the position of Twitter, right? And Jack Dorsey, that was the position. And they tried to go neutral. And look what happened in the end. So, we shall see. But for now, Roku has added InfoWars. That's a really, really, really big deal. Speaking of Roku, let's swing things over to Netflix. Wow, this is a conspiracy show, right? Well, just talked about Alex Jones, so I guess I'm covered. But there's conspiracies going on everywhere. And now Netflix, which has apparently 600 shows, series, and movies currently in production. Currently. Okay? That's a lot of talent. That's a lot of production. Not only stars, but it's everything else that goes with it. The production teams, you have video, sound, editing, all of that stuff. Sets, builders, contractors. It's crazy, right? Well, you got to pay for that stuff. And Netflix announced today that it is going to raise prices for its current 58 million U.S. subscribers over the next 3 months. Netflix's most popular plan will go from $11 per month to $13. The cheapest streaming plan will go from $8 to $9, while the premium plan rises to $16 per month, up from $14. There you go. There ain't no free lunch. There ain't no free lunch, and there you go. Okay. Let's see. Let's just move on. How's that? Let's just move on. This, where am I at here? Where am I at? Okay. Tonight is episode number 2 of Project Blue Book on the History Channel, and it's The Flatwoods Monster. Tomorrow night, I will review it. Okay, so I'm going to leave that go. Also, I've got a new chair in the bunker. Yay, that's breaking news. And also, our very own, the one and only, Michael Oeming and Dan Berman. They have a Image Comics publication, a title called Six. And Six, S-I-X, Six is in development for TV through Amazon and Circle of Confusion Studios under the new title 13. Yes, it's gone from 6 to 13. 13 will follow a ruthless alien ET agent who tracks 12 alien fugitives to Earth, but who develops human emotion, ultimately leading... I can't tell you the rest of it. That would just give it away. Can't tell you that, but I know it. Oeming and Berman will produce, alongside writer Stefan Jaworski, who will also write the script, and Michael Dinner, that's D-I-N-N-E-R, not Denner, Michael Dinner, who will direct the pilot. Congratulations, Michael. You are the absolute very best. And for those of you out there that know Michael Oeming and his comics, his artwork, he's one of the best on the planet, seriously, hands down. But he's also the artist behind our Fade to Black stuff. That's right. That's right. So every time you see that little thing with me with sunglasses on, right? That's Michael Oeming. He's an absolutely amazing artist, and he's been with Fade to Black since the very beginning. So congratulations, Michael. You deserve it, man, and I cannot wait for it. All right, also breaking. This Sunday, we will be at the Crystal Matrix. That's January 20th. And we're going to be hanging out with Carolyn Ford and Einstein, the ancient crystal skull. The address for that is 3215 Glendale Boulevard in Atwater Village, just right next to the city of Glendale. And the phone number there, you need to, hey, thank you. Look at Michael. That's what I'm talking about right there. Michael Oeming, listening to the show. That gets a retweet. Thank you so much, Michael. And oh, man, I forgot about that. That's hanging in the bunker. There you go. All right, Michael Oeming, thank you for that. That got a retweet. This Sunday, the Crystal Matrix, and the phone number for that, which you have to do to make arrangements to get out there. The phone number is 323-644-7625. We will be there for the ceremony. And I'm going to hang out all afternoon, and I'm just going to go and sit down with Einstein and have a conversation. Come and hang out with us. Wear your Fade to Black T-shirts. We'll take a team picture. Okay, that's the Crystal Matrix this Sunday, 323-644-7625. I will be at the NAMM show on Friday, January 25th. The NAMM show is the National Association of Music Merchants, and this takes place every year down at the Anaheim Convention Center. It's the biggest retail music convention in the world all year long. It's huge. And so come down and hang out with us. Normally, I am there on Saturday. This year, I will be there on Friday, January 25th. And if you are attending NAMM this year at the Anaheim Convention Center, hit me up on Twitter, post. I will be posting where I am at NAMM all day in real time. And the reason why we had to move it from Saturday to Friday, I'll be at the Tascam booth, and I'm definitely going to be over at Fender, too, as well, a couple other booths. I will make those announcements as they happen. But the following day, Saturday, I think the weekend, I will be over hosting Coast to Coast AM. So that's why we had to move everything from Saturday back to Friday for the NAMM show. All right, and then right after that, come join us, 2019 Conscious Life Expo in Los Angeles, California, at the LAX Hilton, February 22nd through February 25th. Linda Moulton Howe is going to be there, our guest tonight. She will be there, of course, because this year we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of Chariots of the Gods with Eric Von Daniken. And Linda will be joining me Friday night for the panel with Eric, Jason Martell, Billy Carson, and Rabbi Ariel Bar Zadok. Okay, so definitely make plans for that, and all you have to do is go over to jimmychurchradio.com, click on the Conscious Life banner. You can go and find out about tickets and a full conference schedule. Everything is available over there. It's going to be an amazing conference. Okay, it's at the LAX Hilton, February 22nd through the 25th. All right, and then after that, man, we've got such a busy year this year. Contact in the Desert, May 31st through June 3rd in Indian Wells, Palm Springs, California at the Renaissance Indian Wells Resort and Spa. Tickets and info, contactinthedesert.com. Of course, Linda Moulton Howe will be there too as well. Last year, Okay, so this year we've got 3 events going on. Friday night will be Fade to Black broadcasting live. Saturday night, I will be hosting the awards dinner. Okay, and you can get tickets and info for the awards dinner at contactinthedesert.com. And then Sunday night, I'll be hosting the closing night ceremonies and panel. All-star panel, by the way, and that'll be Sunday night. So we've got a busy weekend at Contact in the Desert. All right. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. It's just $2 a month. Go to jimmychurchradio.com, click on that podcast banner, and also become a Fadernaut. That's right. Simple to do, especially with our new website. Go over to the membership section and become an official Fadernaut today. All right. Happy birthday to today. Tool guitarist Adam Jones is 54 years old, and that dude is a player. Adam Jones today is 54. On this day in history, it went down 2009. Sully Sullenberger performs the miracle on the Hudson when he safely landed the plane he was piloting on New York City's Hudson River. On this day in 2009. Fader fact. You ready? 1 in every 5 adults believe that aliens are hiding on Earth disguised as humans. And that is your Fader fact. You know, Kevin, thank you for posting that picture, because if you look really close, that's my Elvis Presley mug right there. That's a great shot. From courtesy of Lynn. Man, I miss Lynn. Man, do you think she's listening right now, Lynn Lewis? You think she's listening to us? You know she is. That's a cool picture right there. That's it. The Elvis mug. See, that's one side. The other side says Elvis. And then on the inside, so when you're drinking your coffee, right? You're drinking, right inside the lip, can you see it? Is his signature. See that? Autographed right there. So you get to yours truly. All right. Tonight, Linda Moulton Howe is here, and I cannot wait for this conversation. I know a little bit about where we are going tonight, and it's going to be absolutely amazing. So stand by. Linda's going to be here in a few short minutes. Now, today I was out doing some stuff, and it got me to thinking, and this is how my brain works. I should ask Linda about this tonight because she's so smart. You know, I'm not smart. But is this, and I mentioned this a few months ago on the show, all right, which is this. If somebody, you know, it's amazing how atoms make up everything. Doesn't matter, right? The Elvis mug, atoms, right? Me, atoms. Microphone, all the same. It's how they connect. Make up different things, right? So, what is the difference between something that thinks and laughs, like us, and like this Elvis coffee mug? What's the difference? Because if somebody sat next to you, you're lying in bed, and somebody sat next to you and picked you apart with a pair of tweezers, right? Atom by atom, and just made a pile of atoms over here, eventually you would dissolve down into nothing, right? You know, they just picked you apart. Pile of atoms. Where do you go? Your consciousness, your mind, your memories, they're now gone, right? I would think so. I don't think you're alive anymore. But what happens with everything? What's the difference? And then reassemble those atoms into an Elvis coffee mug. Same thing, right? And I'm driving today, actually thinking about this. And I was thinking about it because of food. And I see a burger. Don't ask me how or where, but I see a burger. And I was like, wait a minute here. If atoms make up everything, the same atoms that make up the car that I'm driving are in that cheeseburger. So, you could solve everything if you could disassemble something and reassemble it into something else. Now, not making it up. It's almost like 3D printing almost, right? But 3D printing a burger would be next to impossible, I would think. Take you forever. 3D printing food or 3D printing water, right? Okay, but the idea is this. Why can't we take a rock? See, you wouldn't want and turn that rock into something edible, like a cheeseburger. Why can't you transform these atoms into a cheeseburger, a rock into a cheeseburger? You wouldn't want to transform your Harley Davidson into a cheeseburger. That'd be a gross misuse of atoms. And that's not what I'm referring to. But what if you could take dirt, rocks, and transform them into food? Right? It's just atoms. That, and if we think about all of the technology that we're putting into different things and different ideas, I'm talking about something that apparently to me seems very simple. Why can't we disassemble and transform? Disassemble and transform. It would fix everything. Am I right about this? So think about that for a second. And I think that as I bring all of these intelligent guests on over the next year, right? Never trust an atom. They make up everything. Exactly what I'm saying, right? What if I asked this question of every guest and get an answer out of them? Or could it be something that is a project that is being worked on by DARPA, Sandia, Lawrence Livermore, CERN? Seems simple to me. It really does. And that's why this is Fade to Black, and that's how my mind works. All because I was driving around in the rain today. You can see I'm wearing a jacket again tonight. It's freezing cold. Over the next 24 hours, they are actually saying here in Southern California, it's been raining for a few straight days, almost a week, almost 2 weeks straight, that over the next 24 hours, we're going to get 1.5 inches of rain per hour. Think about that. And it never rains in Southern California, right? Well, here we go. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. And when I come back after this short break, Linda Moulton Howe on the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'll be right back. Stay with us.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on JimmyChurchRadio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black Blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hey folks, guess what the number one phrase that Life Change Tea receives by email? You ready? We love this tea. We love this tea. Time after time, week after week, we love this tea. Life Change Tea gives you more energy, a beautiful cleansing, and fulfills its slogan perfectly. The tea that makes you go. So if you want to be on your health game, log on to getthetea.com and order Life Change Super Strength Tea. Packages come in a 1-month supply, and when you brew this stuff, wait until you see the results. Aren't we all about the results? And with a lot of people's health struggling, we can use a little bit of help. Doctors will tell you disease starts in the gut. So log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Be our next email saying, I love this tea. I love this tea. Get the tea at getthetea.com. Helping America one tea bag at a time.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the planet.
Do you want to lose weight but have no idea where to begin? The Fast Start Diet, a 3-day weight loss plan, is the answer. 3 days of nutritionally balanced, calorie-restricted meals delivered right to your door. No shopping, no measuring, and no cooking. Everything is prepared for you and ready to eat at home or on the go. The Fast Start Diet has all the amazing benefits of intermittent fasting without starving. We've helped thousands of people who have struggled to reach their weight loss goals. Isn't it time we helped you? With the Fast Start Diet, you'll lose weight and feel great.
Find Fast Start Diet on Amazon or go to faststartdiet.com and use promo code TALK to get 10% off your first box. And as a special bonus, Fast Start will include their #1 rated Lipo-3 appetite suppressant spray free with your order. This is Jimmy Church. And whatever your diet plans are, do what I did. Go to faststartdiet.com.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, the planet. This is Fade to Black. Tonight, Moulton Howe is with us. Tomorrow night, Dr. Robert M. Schock, right here, Thursday night, open lines all night long. So there you go. And I do want to remind everybody, this Sunday, we will be out at the Crystal Matrix, right here in Southern California, over in Atwater Village. And we've got all the information up there on Twitter, so we'll see all of you over at the Crystal Matrix on Sunday. But tonight it's Linda. She's here kicking off 2019 with us. She is a graduate of Stanford University with a master's degree in communication. She has devoted her documentary, film, television, radio, writing, and reporting career to productions concerning science, medicine, and the environment. She has Earthfiles.com. She has her own radio program with John Burroughs right here on KGRA. She's on Coast to Coast AM, Ancient Aliens since its first season. She's got a series over at Gaia called Truth Hunters. But, and most important, I have to take a deep breath because she has traveled to Venezuela, Peru, Brazil, England, Norway, France, Switzerland, the Netherlands, Yugoslavia, Turkey, Ethiopia, Kenya, Egypt, Australia, Japan, Canada, Mexico, the Yucatan, and Puerto Rico. Tonight, we are going to cover the biggest stories for her of 2018. And of course, we're going to take a look at 2019 and what it means for our community and disclosure. I would like to welcome back to Fade to Black, the one and only Linda Moulton Howe. Linda, good evening. How are you? How was your new year?
Hey, Jimmy. Well, it was kind of like the way that 2019 is taking off. So much was going on right up to fireworks going in the sky where I was on the 31st. Mm-hmm. And then the very next day, it was picked up with, I was getting phone calls from people about mutilations, about booms, about something that was in the sky. And I thought, this is the perfect metaphor. New Year's Day, right. And it doesn't quit. Even on a vacation at the beginning of a year, it has really been unrelenting. And the feeling that I have right now is from politics to the geophysics of our planet, that this is lining up maybe to be a really tumultuous year where there might be more seismic events as well as all the political problems. And it's kind of like that feeling, get on the bucking horse and hang on, because this is going to be one heck of a year.
Now, I want to go back, actually, to the beginning of 2018. We're getting ready to, if you can believe it, next month you will be with us at Conscious Life Expo.
Right.
And so once again, we are at Conscious Life. And I wanted to go back to where you and I and our minds were 1 year ago, when TTSA, Disclosure, the New York Times, the last Conscious Life Expo, we had a different mindset going on about what 2018 was about to do. Right? And the excitement that we have this year.
Yeah, it was like it was going to blow open after the New York Times. And the big surprise is that it hasn't. And remember, I've said this to you on the last time I think I was on your show, that I had two bets with two different people that we would get that headline, "We're Not Alone in This Universe," on or before New Year's Day 2019. And I had a wonderful time paying off those bets. But I'm going to rebet for 2019 because, Jimmy, can you imagine going on any much longer?
No.
With this whole planet living such a concocted lie that we are alone in this strange universe?
I cannot.
It has to open up for the strength of humanity. If we are on a planet where the politicians lie and everything about what we are and what the history of humanity is a lie, and that everything is built on concoctions that serve power brokers and maybe even non-humans, but we're not on a planet that is serving the general human.
No, not at all. And the question that I have for you, are the bets for 2019 double or nothing? Are you all in?
No, I made two bets, I'll tell you that. And I happen to know a physicist who has also made a similar bet, but I will always respect his request for anonymity.
Sure.
And I say that to underscore that among people who actually know about the alien presence and have known about it for decades, they are themselves, I'm talking about physicists, I'm talking about people who have worked inside on the black programs having to do with back engineering of non-human technology and all of it. They can't quite believe that we are to 2019 now, and that this whole huge big truth has not come out. There's a lot of people I know from the inside who thought it would be out by now.
What do you think caused the foot being taken off of the gas with Disclosure in 2018? There didn't seem to be any excuses, right? We were there, and we were very excited about it. What happened?
Okay, this is my speculation. based on what I've been through in the last 22 years, trying to get to the bottom of the bismuth, magnesium, zinc layered metal that Art Bell received first in a box of pure aluminum, and then about 3 weeks later we got the bismuth, magnesium, zinc, and he called me up right when he got the box and said, Linda, would you please investigate this? And I have been doing it for 22 years, going on the 23rd. And I know from the first discussions and filling a notebook with all of my ink. At that time, I was handwriting all of the comments, and when I was interviewing people like an exotic metals manufacturer in New York City that I was referenced to, and I remember calling him, and I was completely green. I knew zero. And all I did have at that point when I called him was a scientist who had helped me with the energy dispersive and the elemental composition, and we knew that we had pure bismuth alternating with a magnesium zinc alloy that was 96.4 or 97 point in magnesium, and the rest was some zinc. And when I called him up, I said, I've been referenced to you because I have an unusual metal. I didn't front end anything about UFOs, ETs, or anything.
Right.
I just said I have an unusual metal. It appears to be layered. And here are the elements that I have been able to learn so far, and told him about the bismuth and the magnesium zinc. And I said, they're layered at a nano level. The bismuth is 1 to 4 microns. The magnesium zinc is 100 to 200 microns, and they alternate like a torte cake. And I remember this man started laughing, and it was kind of a sardonic laugh, and he said, nobody puts magnesium and bismuth together. You can't do it. It will delaminate immediately. It will never stay as a structure. So the world in 1996, even hearing the composition of the bismuth, magnesium, zinc back in 1996, it didn't exist. And there's a whole lot of other things that I had labs and people that they did not recognize this. And one of my standing sort of, can anybody, I said this with Art Bell a dozen times on the air, is there anybody in the world who would like to volunteer to try to duplicate this metal? No one ever has to this day. And so now, one of the things that I learned in this process up to the 22 years started about it goes all the way back to 2012. It was when Hal Puthoff had the medal for the second round. He's had it 3 times. And in his analysis, it was around that period of time, 2012 to 2013, that we were all beginning to really hear about terahertz frequencies in relationship to UFOs and UAPs because of that huge report that had been done in the UK, Unidentified Aerial Phenomena, Science and Technologies, about 460 pages. Mm-hmm. And it had not been released, and nobody knew about it, but Nick Pope had sent a few pages to John Burroughs because John was very ill after we got back from the Ancient Aliens production in England in 2000. We got back, I think we got back New Year's Eve or New Year's Day going into 2011. And within a very short period of time, upon returning, he became ill, and he kept getting more and more ill. And then doctors at the VA in Phoenix were diagnosing that he was having a liquid in his lungs, and he was in the hospital, and all those things happened. And Nick Pope, I believe, was the first one, sent some pages from what we didn't know at the time was this huge report that we would learn about by 2013, having to do with terahertz frequencies and their impact. As a paragraph in this report that says, in the Rendlesham Forest incident, that there were, and they don't say terahertz in the paragraph, but they're referring to the frequencies emanated by UAPs, as the UK government calls them, unidentified aerial phenomena, and we've always called them UFOs in the United States. It's one and the same, that the UAPs emit frequencies that can manipulate human minds and damage human tissue. Those are the words in this report. And then we learn that it had gone to the Ministry of Defense by the UK Defence Intelligence 55 staff, having to do with a study about technology, frequencies, and a lot of facets of the UFO phenomena. And it had been hand-delivered to the Minister of Defense in 2000. And then for reasons unknown, in 2006, it was quietly changed from UK eyes only, unclassified. But nobody knew about this in 2006. Nick Pope said he didn't even know that it had been unclassified. But Nick and others began to help when we got into this crucial year of 2012. As John Burroughs was getting sicker and sicker and the doctors couldn't understand, and Nick sent some of those pages from this report, and then we received information from Hal Puthoff and others, and eventually it was the bottom line, as John has talked about in his own voice on the radio and in presentations. It was help that came from behind the scenes to VA doctors and said, you must operate and you must replace his mitral valve, because when you open him up, you will find that the anterior and posterior leaflets that control blood flow through the heart will be very damaged. And on December 18th, 2013, John Burroughs went into the hospital for open heart surgery. And the next day, his attorney, Pat Frasconia, was there. And what Pat Frasconia, in a discussion with one of the doctors said that he had never seen such a shredding, a deterioration of these leaflets in the mitral valve, in the organic mitral valve, ever before. And he said, if we had not replaced John Burroughs' mitral valve today, I don't believe that he would have survived another 24 or 48 hours.
Wow.
Now, why is this all important? It's because in the mitral valve and in the heart is the most chambered organ in the human body. Chamber means it has empty spaces. Empty spaces are where something like terahertz frequency or frequencies can then vibrate the tissue. If you get vibration of the tissue, this is how you get damage. So of all the organs in the human body, probably the number one or number two spot that might go back and forth between possibly another organ, but it would most likely be the heart, because it is a chambered organ, would be the number one organ to be most damaged by a specific frequency or frequencies of terahertz. John Burroughs is the only human body that is known between December 26th and December 28th of 1980 in Rendlesham Forest at the big RAF Bentwaters Woodbridge Air Force Base, which at the time was NATO's largest. And it had tactical nukes on both sides of the base. We know that today. It was one of the best-kept secrets in the world back then. And there were witnesses on both December 26th and December 28th that John Burroughs was engulfed twice by light. And Adrian Bastinza, on that December 28th night, John Burroughs and Adrian and I have sat for a very long time with Adrian telling us about his detailed memory, and he has been one of the guys who is reluctant to tell everything that he knows and saw, but he did go on the record on this part for us on Phenomena Radio, that the deputy base commander, Colonel Charles Halt, had given John Burroughs permission that night under very unusual circumstances to walk toward the lights, because they were multiple,
right,
and said to John, yes, you may go toward the lights because you might draw them to us. And John never forgot that. And Colonel Halt then said and called, like it already was prepared, with a flip of the hand. Adrian Bustinza, who was a buck sergeant, came running, and Halt said, I want you, meaning Adrian Bustinza, to go with Airman Burroughs, Airman First Class Burroughs. So now John is walking with Adrian. Colonel Halt and 12, 15 other men are there watching. And Adrian said, as they were getting closer and closer to whatever these multiplicity of red, orange, white, and blue lights were, that all of a sudden, and this is Adrian's quote, the lights pushed me to the ground, quote unquote. That's Adrian Bustinza next to John. Right. The lights pushed me to the ground, and I saw John engulfed by the lights. So that's what happened the second night. The first night was Jim Peniston, who saw this blast of light, and John Burroughs, he never saw John for another 45 minutes. And so of all of the people who were at RAF Bentwaters, the one person on the record seen by witnesses to be engulfed in light twice, there's only one, and that was John Burroughs. So now you jump then to, we go on the 30th anniversary with Ancient Aliens crew, and we're in England from around December 23rd or something till we left on the, it was somewhere around New Year's Eve. And we were back on the fields, walking in the forest on that same ground. We were with Winston Keach, the brilliant engineer and IT analyst, and he brought a tri-field meter, and where we were walking in that big field right along Rendlesham Forest, where John and Jim Peniston thought that they hit a place that somehow it sort of set off their memory bells that maybe we were in the right place. But it means that John was walking on that same land 30 years later, and we had the tri-meter was going off. The beep was at as high. It was pegging. It was pegging with that alarm beep, and it happened on the first night we were there. The next night, the third night, Winston was able with infrared and other. He was running 2 or 3 frequencies in video and still photographs, and we were able to capture red-orange balls of light, blue balls of light mixed in some of them in exactly the area where we were walking, but we never saw any of these lights with our retina, not our human eyes. It was in these other frequencies that Winston Keach was running all of this photographic equipment, and we got all of these lights in these images. And later on, when John started getting so sick, it was a question, and it will never be answered. We will never know. Was there still something that kept setting off the tri-field meter that is still there, and that whatever it was that John Burroughs was exposed to as a 20-year-old back in 1980, that when we were there in 2010 on the 30th anniversary, that it either interacted with or made worse a condition, we will never know, but that question hangs there. Why did he become so sick within 2 to 3 weeks of our returning from England? And all of this is a very important context for the questions that all of us should be being taught on this planet and not being lied to. That we are clearly dealing with intelligences and technologies that are highly advanced, that was the whole point of the December 16th, 2017 New York Times, that the FLIR camera that David Fravor was operating and got the tic-tac, the other video of the other one, that they were saying as skilled pilots that the speed and the angles and what was happening by those objects that were caught on their infrared astounded them as human pilots, and that the conclusion is a human could not have been in any of what was videotaped because we wouldn't survive. Now, so whatever we're dealing with for years, centuries, millions of years probably, it has technologies that human tissue and human minds can be affected by, either damage or no damage. What the difference is, I don't know. And I know that there are doctors and scientists who have been studying this for at least 50 or 60 years. They started not long after World War II. And there's all of this information and all of this knowledge, and yet we in the general public of the world, we are still told that there's no evidence of any other consciousness in this universe. The disconnect is so schizophrenic and so absurd in 2019 that I cannot believe, Jimmy, that this lie can continue, especially when humans, our fellow humanity, deserves to know what our governments and power brokers know about the intelligences, what are friendly, what are neutral, and what are unfriendly. Those are basics that every human should know on this planet.
Yeah, and we're getting ready to find out. And this is the thing. We're going to head towards a break right here, Linda, so let's do that now. But as is, starts to break, and I think that we are there in 2019, this time around, they're not going to be in control. They're not going to be in control. The paradigm shift is going to be away from them. It's not going to be anything that they can handle, and that will cause the response. That's my gut feeling, and that's why we were so close in 2018. All right, our guest tonight, right. I know, we were close. Our guest tonight is Linda Moulton Howe, and when we come back, we've got a lot of stuff to discuss from 2018, and I don't know where I'm going to start, but I have the sneaky suspicion. I think I'm going Bob Lazar. Let's do Bob Lazar after the break. Linda, you cool with that?
Yeah.
Right, let's do Bob. We'll be right back with Linda Moulton Howe. It's Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Stay with us.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on JimmyChurchRadio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black Blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hey folks, guess what the number one phrase that Life Change Tea receives by email? You ready? We love this tea. We love this tea. Time after time, week after week, we love this tea. Life Change Tea gives you more energy, a beautiful cleansing, and fulfills its slogan perfectly. The tea that makes you go. So if you want to be on your health game, log on to getthetea.com and order Life Change Super Strength Tea. Packages come in a 1-month supply, and when you brew this stuff, wait until you see the results. Aren't we all about the results? And with a lot of people's health struggling, we can use a little bit of help. Doctors will tell you disease starts in the gut. So log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Be our next email saying, I love this tea. I love this tea. Get the tea at getthetea.com. Helping America one tea bag at a time.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the planet.
Do you want to lose weight but have no idea where to begin? The Fast Start Diet, a 3-day weight loss plan, is the answer. 3 days of nutritionally balanced, calorie-restricted meals delivered right to your door. No shopping, no measuring, and no cooking. Everything is prepared for you and ready to eat at home or on the go. The Fast Start Diet has all the amazing benefits of intermittent fasting without starving. We've helped thousands of people who have struggled to reach their weight loss goals. Isn't it time we helped you? With the Fast Start Diet, you'll lose weight and feel great.
Find Fast Start Diet on Amazon or go to faststartdiet.com and use promo code TALK to get 10% off your first box. And as a special bonus, Fast Start will include their #1 rated Lipo3 appetite suppressant spray free with your order. This is Jimmy Church. And whatever your diet plans are, do what I did. Go to faststartdiet.com.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Linda Moulton Howe is with us, helping us kick off 2019. Tomorrow night, Robert Schock is here. Thursday night's Fader Night. Open lines all night long. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Follow Linda at Earthfiles. Very simple right there on Twitter. And Linda, right before the break, as we start to look at 2018, one of the things that stands out for me is the resurfacing of Bob Lazar. Now, you haven't seen the new documentary, right?
I have not.
You haven't seen it, so you can't comment there, which is fine. But the question that I would have for you at this point is, Bob comfortably went away for 25 years, right? He walked away from everything, moved to Michigan, continued with his company, and led the quiet life. Why do you think the time was now for him to resurface and do this documentary? Why would he do that?
Well, probably because of what we are sensing and have been since at least December of 2017, that everything is shifting toward finally opening up the truth that we're not alone in this universe. And that if I were Bob Lazar and had been attacked as unmercifully as he was, and I think incorrectly, that this is the time to try to write the truth. I mean, I'm second-guessing. I haven't talked with him for a long time, but back in the 1989, 1990 time period, 88 actually going back, is when John Lear and Bob Lazar were calling me on a regular basis, talking about what was happening at Area 51 and the mountain above, and the night, kind of staying up at night to watch for the UFOs and lights. And it was 1990 that I was, 89 to 90, I was in Atlanta working for CNN and Turner on an environmental television series called Earthbeat. And it was that spring that Bob Lazar said, why don't you come out to Las Vegas around I think it was Memorial Day weekend. And it was going to be George Knapp and Bob Lazar and John Lear and a group of people that he said we can talk and go through some of the issues, and then so I did. And in the process of being able to spend a lot of uninterrupted time listening to Bob's point of view, it boiled down to his saying then that all of the attacks about him claiming that he had a degree from MIT were wrong, that he wasn't adopted. A lot of people don't realize he was an adopted child, and his parents didn't have the money to put him into some of the colleges that his high school buddies, they'd been nerds and loved taking cars apart and doing electrical things, and so some of his best friends, he said, had gone to some of the better schools up in the Northeast, and that he Bob Lazar, not being able to do that, decided that he would visit in some of those classes where his friends were, listen, and that is when he had discussed what he had learned at MIT, not that he had a degree.
Let me jump in, Linda, if I may, let me jump in real quick. You are an investigative journalist and reporter, and especially at that time, your radar is up. And how was your radar operating with Bob at that point? Were you listening? Were you squinty-eyed? Were you wondering? Was your BS meter up? And were you looking for cracks?
For me, for George Knapp, for Jeremy Corbell, for people that you spend time around Bob Lazar, he's not a showboat. He's not talking to you with trying to impress. It's the opposite. He is understated in many ways, and that I came away with the impression that I was listening to a person who wasn't claiming to have PhDs, wasn't claiming any big thing beyond the fact that he had been exposed at Area 51 through Teller, through Los Alamos, getting a very short term, going out to Area 51 where EG&G, it was through EG&G and the Navy. Those were the two combinations that he had 3 paychecks, as I recall and remember, that we were able to see that they had come through the Navy. And they were associated with EG&G, and that was who his temporary employer was, allegedly from Bob Lazar, saying it was Teller. He had talked with Teller about his interest in learning more about Area 51 and working on any exotic craft that would fall into the UFO category, and he was talking with Teller straight about that, and that is how he got that job. But the part that really kicked in for me in that Memorial Day weekend, it was listening to him in his kind of understated way, that he went under a craft that was inside of the Papoose mountain range. Down below, they had it propped up. And that he's describing what he was seeing, and this is back in Memorial Day of what would have been 1989, I believe. 1989 or 1990. I know it was 1990 because that summer I went to a MUFON conference in Gulf Breeze. So it was May of 1990. And he was talking about something that very few people would ever have known ever then if they hadn't seen something like this. And he said, I'm supposed to look at X part underneath having to do with this strange yellow powder that he called element 115. We can talk about that in a minute. And this propulsion system and all of that. That was what they were exposing him to. But he said up above, inside this same craft, because he's down below, but he could see up above, that there were scientists, electricians, and they had various equipment inside, and it would look like a solid silver disc. Remember how he called it the sports model?
Yes.
That's what he was under and working on? Okay, imagine that sports model as if it were divided into wedges. Think of an orange, the way you cut an orange open and there would be wedges. But that you don't see any of the lines of the wedges, but what he could see is that the men on the floor, the scientists, they would hook something, push something, and a panel would go totally transparent in what otherwise looked like a solid silver. And then they would let go of whatever that connection was. It would go back solid, and another panel would go crystal clear. And that Bob was completely fascinated with that. Well, that was one of those very rarely heard. I think I've only talked with a couple of people who have worked as engineers or physicists in some of this back engineering work, and they have said that some of the craft, maybe all of them, and maybe it's just the ones where they actually were able to try various experiments with, that the craft, like exactly what Travis Walton described in Arizona, that when he pushed a lever, that in that case, all of the craft that looked solid went clear, and it scared him because it looked like he was hanging in space, but it was that transparent in the craft that he was in, playing around with those knobs.
Right.
So it's some kind of, to use the word polarization is the only active word that I know, but these were details that were not generally discussed or described in the public anywhere on this planet. But Bob was describing what he had been seeing, and then when it came to this issue of the element 115, this yellow powder that you could handle, and it had to do with developing and neutralizing gravity and all of these propulsion systems. The thing that's puzzling, and I have not had a chance to have any discussion with him about this since about 2004, it was Livermore. And I did a story at Earthfiles.com that I brought up in front of me to remind me. Scientists create and add elements 113 and 115 to the periodic table. And this is an Earthfiles.com that I produced February 6, 2004. And this is the strange thing about all of this, is that Bob insisted that it was in some sort of a stable, yellowish form, whatever they had with that craft. But, and I got a quote, according to Bob Lazar, only half a pound of the element 115 at S4 Area 51 could power a spacecraft for about 30 Earth years. More amazing than that, he said, top-secret scientific research had concluded that the huge energy element 115 could produce was used to distort space and time with strong gravitational fields, also generated by technology on the spacecraft. The result was that the disk could quickly, quote, jump around in the cosmos from point to point rather than the impossibly long travel in light years that current human technology would face, close quote. Now, when you come to current science, it's not something that's stable. So far, element 115, as far as at least the public knows, it's not a yellowish powder. So what is the difference between what Bob Lazar had at S4 Area 51 versus the isotope of element 115, which is all we know about, which has, a billionth of a second. So what are these differences? And the very fact, and this is a really important point tonight on Fade to Black, I believe that Bob Lazar tried to report as honestly and straightforwardly as he could possibly do about what he had been exposed to and what it was called and what he understood. Now, that was back in the late 80s. Element 115 on our periodic table was not supposed to be, or is not supposed to have been confirmed until 2004. Jumped from 1988, 89 to 2004. Why? What's the disconnect? And these are some of the puzzles when you start getting into what has the United States government been back engineering since World War II, for real. And people who come in through subcontracts or contracts for 2 or 3 paychecks for whatever is the specific reason. And they get exposed to something that is outside, is very different. And so the general public reaction is to react and say he must be lying. When in fact, I would argue that Bob Lazar, to the best of his ability, has described exactly what he experienced, what he saw, what he was told. But why is there this big difference about element 115?
Yeah,
and I don't have an answer to that.
Yeah, I don't either. And, there's like 2 or 3 questions here when it comes to 115. One, the stable version of it, he indicated that we were in possession of 500 pounds of it. I think that was the number, right? We had 500 pounds of 115. And so obviously it's mined somewhere. It might be manufactured, but it's mined somewhere. I doubt that it's on this planet, that it arrived to us off planet. But the other part of it is if it's mined off planet and there's a stable version of it, why can't we get to a stable version of it here and manufacture it? And 2, he's also indicated, not in an official sense, he certainly alludes to this in the documentary, that he stole some, right? That he's got some stashed away. And if let me ask you this, Linda, if you were, let's put Bob Lazar to the side, right? We're not talking about Bob. We're talking about you, like your Byzantine,
the bismuth
material, right? If you were in possession of 115, a stable version of it, you had a couple of grams of it right there in New Mexico, would you go public with it? Would you become a martyr? Right? Would you go public with it?
Well, I mean, now we're talking about a question of knowledge of doing something wrong, and personally,
I'm not saying that I'm not saying that you stole it. I'm saying that if somebody gave it to you and you were in possession of this 115, would you go public? Would you?
Well, the parallel is where we started about the bismuth, magnesium, zinc.
Right. You went public with that.
We were public right from the get-go.
Right.
But we were, as soon as we got it, I was on the air with Art on Coast and Dreamland constantly, reporting about who I was talking to. Got Travis Taylor, who was working at Redstone Army Arsenal down in Alabama. He called me, and he was so provoked by what I was reporting that he said, straight out, I work for the Defense Intelligence Agency. I would like to volunteer to try to do some tests, electrostatic tests and various things with this material. Let's see if it is a lifting body.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how Travis Taylor and I originally worked on this. I was in Alabama. We videotaped experiments that we did. We did others. He arranged for me to work with. It was a DOD lab in California, and it was stressed that what we were doing in California was never to be discussed on the air. And I was fine with that because right from the beginning of April of 1996, there was nobody, once I went on the air and said, we've got this box and it's from a man who identifies himself as an Army sergeant and his grandfather, and told the story. And the grandfather left these metal pieces, and I'm going to try to find out what they are. Could they possibly be from one of the crash discs in Roswell? And everything was open. Everything was public that I was doing and finding. And what happened is people started coming out of the woodwork, coming forth and saying, look, you need to do X, you need to do Y. Travis was one of those. And we did some tests that had some provocative movement on the part of bismuth, magnesium, zinc sideways, but we never had it go up into the air, which is what some people thought would happen. Now, with Travis, the DIA, when he said, I can work with you, and the DIA, his superior, said, as long as you and Linda Moulton Howe are prepared to have a report, you, Travis, from Linda and everything you're doing, we want to know everything you find out. As an investigative reporter back in 1996, when I heard from Travis that the DIA was saying they wanted to have a report of everything we were learning, it said to me, they don't know what this is. They don't know how to make it work. They want to know what we find out, which I think subsequently is part of the truth. Eventually, because everything I was doing was public, I did start getting what would be in the category of whistleblowers saying, I can't go on the radio, I can't, but you need to know X. That led to one of the most exciting discussions that I had 3 years ago. It was at a conference, and it was a physicist. A conference turns out to be a good protection because in a mass of people, no one knows what anybody is talking to me about, usually because it's so noisy.
Right.
And so it's kind of a good place, and I've had half a dozen people with real solid information approach me at conferences, and this was one of them. And here is the part that is so relevant and expands the context of Bob Lazar, the bismuth, magnesium, zinc, and all of it. This physicist said, I listened to your radio reports about that bismuth, magnesium, zinc back in the 90s. And he said, I want you to know that in the early 70s, I was working underground at Area 51 in S4. And he said, and I was working on a slab of the same material that you have little pieces of. He said, I was working with a slab that was 6 feet long and 3 feet wide. And he said it was the outer skin of a wedge-shaped vehicle from someplace else, not made by humans, and that he wanted me to know that the trick was we would never, ever discover the power and the importance of the bismuth, magnesium, zinc outer skin unless we had the inner skin, that the inner skin and the outer skin of the wedge-shaped craft had to be working together, and then they would neutralize gravity. He said, Linda, you could blow on a craft and it would move. Now, the concept of an inner skin and an outer skin, it had to do with intelligent atomic arrangement, things that we are just, I know we do. I know we have nanotechnology, and I know that we can place things now increasingly well at an atomic level. But as you go back into the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, the 60s, nobody was doing that, right?
Right.
So as the physicist was explaining, it was as if, and this is why this is important, there are so many people, whether they've been scientists on the science side or military on the military or intel side, they've all told me the same thing for the last 20, 30 years. Everything relating to UFOs and ETs is so compartmentalized that it is in itself a block to our being able to evolve the technology. That the white world scientists, there are brilliant white world scientists that if they knew the truth, if they were able to have their hands on 6 foot by 3 foot slabs of this kind of material, who knows? We might make leaps and bounds on developing how to neutralize gravity so that we'd move point to point. And that is part of the sadness in all of this, that right from the beginning, maybe for good reasons, maybe not, everything went to the black world. And the black world is so compartmentalized that, as one scientist told me back it was 1999, he said that he had worked for the Defense Intelligence Agency for 23 years and was retiring. And he wanted to talk with me about material that I had specifically in Glimpses of Other Realities, Volume 2, High Strangeness, my third book. And in the process of getting into the details, he told me this. He said, 23 years, I worked on analyzing the competition of different civilizations from outside in the universe that have been competing and terraforming and genetically manipulating in this solar system and on this planet and throughout many other places for millions of years, Linda. And a particular subject that I had worked on and was told it was the single most classified, sensitive subject in the United States government, and no one was ever to know anything about it. I get a call in 1989 saying, there's a new book out. It's a reporter named Linda Moulton Howe. You have to get this book. It's called Glimpses of Other Realities, Volume 2, High Strangeness. Gave him the page numbers. He said, I went. You have an entire chapter, 100 pages, illustrations, maps of exactly the subject that I thought would never meet the light of day.
Well,
and he said, I was stunned after 23 years.
So,
Linda, but here's my last sentence.
Okay.
It was, the reason is because the human abductees are not working in compartmentalized, classified projects. They are fellow human beings that are interacting for reasons unknown with the intelligences that are the makers of these advanced technologies.
So we got to take a break right here. But so you are saying that you would have come forward if you were in possession of 115, right?
I would have definitely approached scientists and said, would you help me understand this?
Linda Moulton Howe. That's what I'm talking about. We'll be right back after this short break. This is Fade to Black. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously. Go Beckley Tappy. Do you want to be an official Fadernaut? Of course you do. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. Just go to our membership section at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
If you have hard water, the lime scale not only leaves white spots, it clogs pipes and breaks down appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars in energy and wear. Eliminate lime scale and other water issues like brown staining and bad odors with HydroCare water products, available from Wave Home Solutions. Wave's affordable water systems don't use salts or chemicals. You'll love the way your water tastes, smells, and looks. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Are you intrigued by paranormal talk radio? You'll love the new paranormal radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the paranormal radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the paranormal radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Linda Moulton Howe. You can follow me on Twitter. Join the conversation right now. Twitter is on fire. man. The amazing thing, Linda, check this out. On Twitter, I'm not sure if you are aware of this, but during a Fade to Black broadcast, we do 2,000, 3,000, and 4,000 tweets per night. It's absolutely insane. You should come over and join us one night. It's so cool. You would have so much fun. It is just absolutely
what
amazing.
What is the drift of the tweets now?
Right now, it's all about you. That's the. What do you think? Yeah, everybody's really enjoying the conversation, and one of the you know what? Check this out. Latest tweet just came in a few seconds ago about John Levine. And I'll read you the tweet, okay? Are you ready? Yeah. This is from Cassandra. She says, though the John Levine Apollo 20 story fell apart, Linda had talked about evidence of a secret Cold War NASA program. Has Linda come upon any new evidence to suggest Levine was involved in the secret program at all? Linda, it sounds like I'm asking that question. That's how good Twitter is. Isn't that amazing?
Well, yes, but... so I'm glad that you have an audience now that is interested in this, because the story that Levine emerged with at the end of October was about his role in a secret astronaut program that involved a secret Apollo 18, 19, and 20 after the official public Apollo 17.
And he also said, so now, didn't he also say that he was a secret astronaut on Apollo 17?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
But what I'm trying to go to the heart is that when I first talked with Levine, the part that really caught my attention, and I ended up doing 3 segments, 3 interviews that totaled 5 hours, was he sent me his birth certificate and sent me his DD-214s and sent a real, it was one of these Vietnam War kind of awards, all of this stuff in the beginning, and talked about how his father also worked in a science capacity and was a very good friend of Howard Hughes. Howard Hughes of Hughes Tool, Hughes Aerospace. And back in the 60s, you would put Howard Hughes as an 800-pound gorilla in the whole aviation and aerospace world. And hold that thought, and then I'm going to jump to a discussion 10 days ago. I got a contact from a man who said, I grew up with John Levine, and his real birth certificate name is John Harold Levine. He's had many aliases. And this person calls and said, I grew up with him in Vermont, and Vermont is on his birth certificate. And he said, I hate the guy for a bunch of reasons, but Linda, I want you to know that you're on the right track about the fact that Howard Hughes was very close to his father, and that when he tells you that he got a job because Howard Hughes wanted the young teenage John Levine to do some work for the Central Intelligence Agency, he said that is the truth. Okay, so this is a guy who is not calling and acting on behalf, is saying a whole bunch of things that he didn't like John Levine growing up, but that he knew this part of the story was real. So it's a complex landscape, but now let's go further. Because this John Levine emerged on the scene at the end of October, I did the interviews and was at Earthfiles and Coast in Real X-Files. I've been doing Earthfiles since 1998, and this is 2019, and it has always had a paragraph at Real X-Files saying that I place material that I cannot prove, but that I feel that the public needs to consider it in Real X-Files, plus I put all animal mutilation stories and photographs that might be problematic for a general audience always in Real X-Files, and that is what's called the subscription wall for children and others. They can't just stumble across the mutilation photos. All of that was there from the beginning, and that was my intent. And I've been working with a group of 5 guys that are Navy and various other expertise. And we started doing research when I was doing the interviews with Levine, and as it was posted, I got information that came in from people. One person that I know is working in special ops, and he knew about Levine, and he told me that when it came to memory wipes, that is a well-known process, and that this person had been exposed to it himself, and said that it is possible that a human could be in, let's say, working for the CIA from a teenage year on, and whatever they did and were hired to do, if they have a memory wipe and then they have a memory replacement overlay,
right,
that you will get a problem. I'm not defending Levine, but I'm talking about why in December my next round of reports had to do with MK Ultra that John Greenwald and I have been working, and we did Phenomena and a bunch of things together. Very important documents that, because of John's FOIA requests, and as he calls it, his battle with the CIA over getting MK Ultra, it is so clear that from 1953 that our government was intent on finding ways with hypnosis, with chemicals, with all kinds of things. And it says right in the documents to amnesia. Amnesia was selective and controlled amnesia. Those are phrases that you find in the now FOIA released after how many years? Some of these documents go back 50, 60 years, and the CIA is still fighting John on not releasing documents past. I think he has not gotten documents past the 70s. And so what else is there? Well, that there are people who have worked for our government who have had selective amnesia on purpose in order to control leaks. And they can have memory replacements. And then what is the human mind capable of? Can you actually have all of this happen and not reach a point where you haven't got a clue what the real truth is? I would imagine that that is probably true, and this is not a defense of Levine. It is that Levine coming forth with the story has opened up a gold mine in so many directions, and that that I am beginning to find that there are people that I completely know their backgrounds and trust, and they are telling me that they have heard that we probably were on the backside of the moon, possibly before 1976, in secret missions, all having to do with the government being aware that there was an alien presence, that it was using the moon. We wanted to find out. And all of this is beginning to emerge in even deeper textures. And one of the discoveries that I made in this third Earthfiles that I put up 2 nights ago, January 13th, UK engineer described some real NASA secrets. All of this has emerged because of digging in and around the Levine story. And in a July 2015, so only 3 years ago, FOIA released National Reconnaissance, it's not organization, it is NRO, I always want to call it organization, document from June 1966, archived in the U.S. Air Force Historical Division Liaison Office. entitled The Air Force in Space, fiscal year 1962. That's 10 years before Apollo 17.
Right.
And it identifies, all caps, the word SAINT as an acronym for Satellite Inspector, and this is what this says about SAINT. Quote, for several years prior to 1962, the Air Force had studied a proposed satellite inspector, SAINT system, which would examine unidentified objects in space and determine their characteristics, capabilities, or intent. And then I show in this report, the words are that SAINT would be able to identify and destroy, hostile satellites and destroy them. Well, what else can you conclude? That we had identified that there was an alien presence, unidentified objects in space, and that in the 1950s we were already trying to figure out how we were going to get something up where hostile satellites were and destroy them.
You don't even have to read between the lines. It's right there in front of you. It's right there in front of you.
It's right there.
Now,
and then, and
okay,
here
go ahead.
is one more kicker to all this. This was in December 2018 after I did the second round of these reports and interviews with John Greenwald and Winston Keach, an engineer from the UK, and others about all of this. And I got, through an encrypted email that I use, this from and this person is in U.S. Navy Special Ops. Quote, this was to me about 3.5 weeks ago. We are indeed in conflict with various alien beings, some of which are cybernetic. Cybernetic means a combination of something that is artificial intelligence and organic. We continue to lose many good men to this quiet conflict. Different types of alien craft have been located on Earth, the Moon, and on Mars. Some alien craft we still can't penetrate or board, close quote. And I know this person from 2.5 years ago. I know that they are solid and that they decided to send this encrypted message to me upon hearing the reports that I have been trying to do to get to the bottom of the big part on the Levine thing. The big part is, did we do an entire secret space program fronted by NASA? How many secret programs were going on? And I have a photograph that I found through a lot of research work of there was supposed to be a total of 17 secret astronauts with the manned orbital laboratory program that was a huge secret at the very beginning of the 1960s. And the idea, and I have a big illustration that NASA had done of how they would put this manned orbiting laboratory up in a very specific altitude, and that these secret astronauts would be, their job would be to be monitoring the Earth, and others have said that they wanted to monitor space there because of unidentified flying objects, and that this manned orbiting laboratory that has a photo, and I have it at Earthfiles, it says photos of 14 of the 17 astronauts with the manned orbital laboratory. Where are the other 3?
Right.
Who were they?
Right. Well, it's like the original evidence of the the secret space program. You know,
and that it's been going on. MK Ultra began in 1953, officially putting Sidney Gottlieb in as the director, and that you had a parallel track of our government learning how to control secret programs by controlled amnesia, controlled laying down of new memories. Think about Oswald and Ruby and the idea that sounds could trigger something that was pre-programmed in the mind, all of that. Mm-hmm. And that was paralleling the evolution of NASA. Well, and that NASA was working in collaboration with the CIA.
Well, and I want to jump back really quick before we get to this next break, Linda, because back in October when John reached out to you and reached out to me, I was sent that picture of the alien face, and Google is my friend, right? And I go and I right-click on, I do a Google search, and it pops up, a video game from the mid-2000s, and I got a high-res version of the video game cover, which I blew up on one of my giant monitors, and I'm looking at it, and I go and look at the image that was sent to me, and the wind was out of my sails. Right? I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And so I backed off, and then I went to respond to John, and he deleted his account on OnStellar. And so I just backed off the whole story. May
I just pick up here for a second on that?
Well, I want your response. I want your response to that.
Yeah, because I've been through this issue of Xboxes and television and various things being the explanation for several things that would include, remember when the Dragonfly drones showed up around 2007, 2008, and I was getting photographs, and that was then when the whistleblower did the release of that incredible document about neutralizing gravity, projection of holograms, extraterrestrial technology, the patterns that matched a lot of things that had showed up in crop formations, a whole different way of looking at AI through creation of materials that would be like holograms. You could have an entire ship, and this is what is so important to remember. That's what was this entire document that was released with the Dragonfly drone photos and the language, is that the craft, the UFO craft themselves, are like holograms, that every piece has the whole knowledge, and that it was staggering, and that they were working on this. The guy who released it said he had been working with a whole group of scientists under the security of military put there by the Department of Defense, and the scientists were trying to back engineer what they had collected somehow from these Dragonfly drones. As soon as I started reporting, and I was talking with people who were a wife of a husband who had taken kids into Yosemite, and they see this Dragonfly drone, and the wife can sketch it, the child can sketch it, and you know that you're dealing with honest people, and they're seeing these things, right? Well, there were, all of a sudden, came stuff on the web saying that all the Dragonflies were from some Xbox game. So I went through all of that, don't believe it for a minute, but what I think is at work is it all at any particular point, if counterintelligence that's been operating so well since World War II and helped us survive World War II, they're brilliant minds. And they know they can take a real photo, a real alien, a real UFO, a real Dragonfly drone, and all they have to do is put it out in a Hollywood feature, an Xbox, anything. They've killed its credibility instantly. Even if the original was a real photo. And that's the problem. We are in like a hall of mirrors. None of us knows the chain of custody. What is the chain of custody? what was the original inception behind any of these Xbox theater. Now, when I talk with Winston Keach, the UK, he's an engineer, he's a computer analyst, he's a brilliant guy. He saw the French, the SPETH, the Speth creation of Apollo 20. And Wynne said, in Europe, it has long been suspected, and Speth has never denied, that the entire Apollo 20 theatrical creation was done to muddy the truth that there was a secret Apollo mission to the backside of the moon. Now, you start putting all this stuff together and untangling what is fiction and what is fact becomes more and more difficult, which is exactly what counterintelligence wants to accomplish. People throw up their hands, they walk away from everything, and they bought themselves another 20 years of denial. So I'm looking at all of this through the lens of having been through these kinds of things before, and it's not that Levine is a truth teller. It is that Levine has opened up now so many avenues that are leading to real documents, to real people with real knowledge. I was talking with Dr. Bob Wood today about all of this, and Bob is an extremely respected electrical engineer and physicist who worked at McDonnell Douglas for, I think it was 32 years.
No question.
Oh, he's just, I have always respected and admired Bob Wood so much. And I had him read the part 3 about the National Reconnaissance Organization and this whole, what I started talking to you about is that document that is referring to Saint. He'd never heard of Saint before. He read it and sent me back an email. And he said to me, he said, Linda, I wouldn't be surprised if we did a secret landing on the backside of the moon before 1976. So people who have had real, honest-to-God, aerospace, physics backgrounds, they have been exposed to things that we in the public never have been, and that whatever is the truth, which is what I'm going to keep trying to dig for. I've got several people helping me now on a lot of different fronts. I think this is a good thing that this has emerged so that we can all keep digging into what is the real truth. And wouldn't this be the ultimate irony, Jimmy? You and I were talking about this before air, that we are now starting 2019 off with this seemingly subdued, very subdued news from China that their Chang'e landed on the backside of the moon and that it will be heralded throughout human history as the first time humans put a machine on the backside of the moon. How ironic, almost sad, if the truth is that the United States was there maybe in the 60s, and that not a single word has been made public because of policies of denials and lies about the fact that we're not alone in the universe, and that is the reason why we went to the backside in the first place.
I can't wait for 2019. Let's go to fast forward, Linda. Let's get to the end of the year. When we come back after this quick, short break, J. Allen Hynek. It's all being talked about tonight. Linda, thank you so much. Stay right there. We'll be right back.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
Poor water quality is a major health issue, and it's only getting worse. Municipalities can't keep up, standards have dropped, and pollutants are increasing. Where does it all end? It ends by keeping the pollutants outside of your home with HydroCare's advanced systems available at Wave Home Solutions. No less than the best purification materials and processes have been developed by HydroCare to provide you with healthy, clean water for drinking, cooking, and showering. HydroCare far surpasses the competition in removing chlorine, odors, iron, lead, chemicals, limescale, and much more. Don't settle for less when it comes to your water. We'll take care of the toughest water problems for you, whether it's from a city or well source. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, call 888-997-WAVE. That's 888-997-WAVE. Or go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRAradio.com.
Does your basement or crawl space have a damp, musty smell? Well, watch out. That's a sign of too much moisture and not enough ventilation. And that can mean increased mold growth and the buildup of harmful toxins and gases. Don't bother with a dehumidifier. It just circulates the same unhealthy air. Now there's a better way to remove these dangers and odors. It's with the computerized Wave Moisture Control Unit that reduces moisture and expels pollutants.
We replaced our old dehumidifier with the Wave unit, and in only 3 weeks, our basement is dry and the musty smell is gone.
Wave units require no maintenance, no buckets of water or filters, and costs only pennies a day to run. Breathe better, live healthier with an affordable, no-maintenance Wave unit. Call 888-717-WAVE, 888-717-WAVE, or visit dryhealthyhome.com, dryhealthyhome.com.
Ride the wave. Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only drink Fade to Black blend coffee from River Moon. Just click on the River Moon coffee banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code F2B Blend.
So are you tired of being tired? Well, then it's time to get the tea. Hey, it's Lisa here to tell you about this all-natural, all-organic tea I've been drinking that has had great results for over 20 years. It's called Life Change Tea, and it's specially formulated to help detoxify and cleanse your kidneys, liver, colon, and blood all at once. The colon is one of the most ignored organs in the human body. The faster that waste is eliminated from the body, the less time that waste sits in our intestines, spreading toxins to our bloodstream. This tea helps cleanse chemicals caused by outside intruders from our entire digestive system. And get this, weight loss can be a side effect. And with continued use of the tea, you can experience clearer, healthier, younger looking skin, increased energy, and a happier outlook on life. So if you're tired of being tired, get the Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. And like me, you'll be glad you did.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why Fade to Black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, our guest, Linda Moulton Howe, helping us kick off 2019 on the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. You can check out Linda with her program and John Burroughs here on KGRA, Call Phenomenon Radio. And, of course, you can follow her on Twitter at Earthfiles. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Now, Linda, continuing the conversation, Project Blue Book History Channel Have you seen it yet?
No, I have. Hello?
Yes, you said
Yeah,
no.
it sounded like a, I don't know, like a horn blast. Did you hear it?
The NSA, Linda. We start talking about Project Blue Book. I don't know if it's you or I, but one of us. It's so funny.
I have not seen the TV version, but I sure have talked with a lot of people about the 3 Project Blue Books that our government has had. Do you want to go into that?
Well, I do, and let's reserve that for just a second because I need your personal insight on a couple of things. I'm going to just say this because tonight episode 2 aired. I haven't seen it yet. But the first episode from last week, everything centers around J. Allen Hynek. Okay, so that's his personal experiences. And they do a disclaimer at the beginning and the end of each episode, which is based on facts. This is based on the reports from Project Blue Book. So you are assuming that, and his family, by the way, has authorized this series. So the implications are that this is all real stuff. We just haven't heard about it yet. Now, let me back up. Briefly, just say this. One of the things that happened in last week's episode is Hynek goes out in 1948 to the scene of the Gorman, the famous Gorman UFO dogfight. It's called the Fuller dogfight. But anyway, so to test the pilot's story, Hynek gets in a plane, a fighter, whatever it was, a Thunderbolt or something, goes up, chases a weather balloon, crashes the plane, and walks away. Hynek, right? And at the scene of the crash, he looks over in the distance, and there's a Men in Black. The whole thing, the fedora, and he's observing the crash scene of Hynek. Now, Dr. Hynek, you knew him. Did you ever in your life hear about Hynek surviving a plane crash as he was researching a UFO incident, right? And that's where this series is going.
No, not in the slightest. And you're talking about the Mantell case.
No, not the Mantell case, the Gorman case from 1948.
Okay. Well, I don't... here, let me jump to what I know firsthand about Allen. I had done a Strange Harvest. It was broadcast, and it was only a couple of months after the May 25th, 1980 broadcast of A Strange Harvest about the animal mutilation investigation that I got a call from J. Allen Hynek. He called me at Channel 7 in Denver and said that he wanted very much to see my documentary, that he'd heard a lot about it, and he wanted to know if I could meet with him and half a dozen other investigators at a meeting that they were going to hold down in Alamosa in southern Colorado. And I had heard about him, wanted to meet and talk with him, and we all got together. And they had the meeting parts of the gathering in like a school. And so we were sitting at these, remember where you could sit in college or something, or high school, and there would be to the right like a square. It would fold up and down, and when you get in and you could write on it, and that's the kind of room we were in. And we were screening A Strange Harvest, and then the lights came up, and he lifted up his desk part that he was sitting in, about 2 over from me, and there were probably about 12 of us who had gathered for this meeting with J. Allen Hynek. And he was totally silent, and he's now walking toward me, and he came and he took his index finger in his right hand, and he started pounding it on that wooden square of my little desk chair, and he's looking at me through his glasses. And I'm sitting, he's standing with his index finger. He said, "Do you really think that extraterrestrial biological entities are responsible for these animal mutilations?" And I'm not exaggerating. That was the tone, the emphasis, and the pounding of the finger. And it was like he was angry after watching A Strange Harvest. And anybody who has known me ever, I just have to tell it like it is. So even though I know that he's upset, I remember looking at him and saying, "Dr. Hynek, yes, law enforcement, sheriffs and deputies are the ones who right from the beginning told me that the perpetrators were creatures from outer space." And he was staring at me, and then he turned around and he walked back and had to lift up the high school desk chair and sit back down, and we continue with the meeting. And that is how I remember the first day of being with J. Allen Hynek. Through that weekend, Leo Sprinkle, who was the director of counseling and testing at the University of Wyoming, he and I had worked together on the hypnosis session in my documentary with Judy Doherty, who she and her daughter had watched a calf rise in a yellow beam of light outside of Houston. All of that was in the film, and we all ended up, Leo Sprinkle, Dr. Hynek, myself, and a bunch of other guys that were there. We then all began to talk honestly, and a real friendship was formed between Dr. Hynek and me, even though it was so clear, Jimmy, that he was so profoundly upset at some core level because whatever he had been exposed to in his so-called collaboration with the United States Air Force through Project Blue Book on all of the lists that Project Blue Book was giving to the public. By then, when we met in what would have been 2 months after May of 1980, he already knew at some level that he had been conned and he had been used as an astronomer. And now I'm going to explain why I say that because of what happened.
Okay.
So, 1980, I saw and talked with J. Allen Hynek in various places each year, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85. We were speakers at the University of Nebraska. All of us, we are becoming now really close friends, and he would call me on a variety of things. And in August of 1985, he called with Richard Sigismund, his good friend from Boulder, and he said, "Linda, could you join us for dinner? I have just flown. I'm going to be flying into Denver, and I want to see Richard, and I would like to see you." And he said, "I'm coming from a very puzzling meeting and travel to Norton Air Force Base in California. I want to talk with you about it." And I remember distinctly that the night was August 5th, 1985. How the mind can hold on to these important dates, I don't know, but I remember that was the date. And it was, I believe, on a Sunday, because the next day I was leaving for Addis Ababa in Ethiopia to produce a film for UNICEF called New Hope in Child Survival. And that was part in my mind, and I remember that date because I was going to be going to Africa the next day.
Mm-hmm.
So we gather. It's just the three of us. We're having dinner, and what Alan told us was that he had gotten a call that permission had been given by somebody in the Pentagon for him, finally, to see the real UFO extraterrestrial craft and assorted bodies at Norton Air Force Base.
Whoa.
And he was flown there, and then he's met by somebody who tells him, "I'm sorry, sir, the permission has been rescinded." And he said to both of us, almost agonized, why would they do that? Why would they tell me that I'm going to finally be shown the craft and the bodies, and I get all the way there, and then they pull back the permission? And so that set the tone for the rest of the discussion, and there came this moment. I'm sitting in between. J. Allen Hynek is on my right. Richard Sigismund is on my left. Allen reached out with both of his hands to my right arm. He grasped my arm firmly. Almost, if you can imagine that you're horizontal with somebody at a table, but it feels like that they are clinging on and hanging from your arm.
Sure.
It had that kind of energy in it. And I'm looking right into his eyes, and they begin to fill up with tears. And hanging on to my right arm, he said with his voice breaking, "Linda, do you think I will ever be vindicated in my life?" And all of the whole, everything, his whole life, my all of us who have been trying to get to the truth, and what in that question he meant, he's gotten so close to the Holy Grail, and it's been denied, and that he's asking because he doesn't want to go out of this life without knowing and seeing. And as he said that, and the tears coming up, he said that the next sentence I remember so clearly, "I know that I was used. I feel terrible of what I once did," meaning he was the cover, he was the scientist, he was the it's swamp gas, it's this, it's that, right? For a long time, he was doing a lot of covering for the Air Force.
That's right.
Until he couldn't take it anymore, because he knew. And that's what he basically said to us that night. I knew I was covering. I knew I was being used. And in that moment, with those tears, was this life that neither Richard Sigismund nor I knew at that moment in August of 1985 that he would be dead by April of 1986.
That's right.
A few months later.
That's right.
And I went to Africa, and I didn't know anything. I didn't get back for a month. And then I was in New York. And so I went from Africa to New York and was creating the film. And it was somewhere when I was in New York that I got a call from Richard Sigismund and said, "I have very bad news. Alan was diagnosed with prostate cancer, but it has spread to his brain, and there isn't much time," and all of that. And then he was gone in April. And that dinner, that last dinner with him, in my mind, it is sort of a metaphor for the last, from World War II on, for all of us.
Right.
That will we know the truth in our life, the truth that we all know is there.
You know what the ironic thing, the definition of irony, right, is playing out once again with J. Allen Hynek, because in this new series, here he is again from beyond the grave, Linda, being used once again, because in this new series, he's running around with grays, and flying saucers.
None of the things that happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's sad, and I knew that. And this is what I love about the UFO community, whether it's skeptics or debunkers or experiencers. It doesn't matter. There's a lot of smart people in this community, and if you're a History Channel and you are going, look, I've worked a lot with History Channel, and I don't want to be really uber negative here. But that being said, if you are going to have a series like this where you're going to take creative license, we're talking about J. Allen Hynek here, a very important figure in history, and to distort his real life like this, I don't find it cool. And this community is going to blow holes in this. They are going to take this series apart, and that's
Jimmy. I've just told you the heart and the soul of J. Allen Hynek
right.
in August before he died in April, and I was there with his hands clasping my right arm, asking, will I be vindicated, meaning, will the truth come out in my life? And I understood that. And it is, and there's one more thing that you and your audience should know that was such a surprise as I came to know and like and respect him very much. When we were asked to be speakers, it was the University of Nebraska, if I'm recalling, and it was somewhere like around maybe 82, 83. And there were three of us who were speaking at the university. I was speaking on animal mutilations. Alan was speaking about the whole Project Blue Book UFO stuff. And the third was a professor who was on the in the Congo. He had been in the Congo looking for the possibility of a true residual dinosaur that the Pygmies drew and talked about. And so, and it was called Makili Bembe, was what the Pygmies called it. And so that was those are the three of us speaking, and fascinating. And Alan and that scientist and myself, we had dinner together that night, and the discussions were just fascinating and incredible.
Man. I would have loved that.
And he said, Linda, after we speak tonight, he said, let's go and let our hair down. Remember, this is 82. I just told you about the 85 dinner. So this is about 3 years before.
So he's like 71, 72, 73 years old. He wants to go let his hair down. I'm down.
Well, yeah,
I'm down with that.
He's saying to me, let's let our hair down. And I'm thinking, I'm now going to hear everything about extraterrestrials and UFOs and
Right.
So we went off into some side room someplace, and it was quiet. And the first things he said, the most important book that I have ever read in my life, I would like to recommend that you get, because I believe that it is related to everything that we are all trying to understand. And this is what he said. It is Rudolf Steiner's Theosophy. I had never heard of Rudolf Steiner or Theosophy as he is looking at me with this kind of excitement, intellectual excitement about this very important book that I must get. And when I told him, I'm sorry, I'm not familiar, and he said, that's why I'm telling you, you must get this book. You must read it. It is at the core of everything we are dealing with. All right, now I'm going to jump cut. When I got home, first thing I did was go get this book.
Right.
And I set aside everything else, and I just sat and read Theosophy by Rudolf Steiner until I finished it. And it is a book about the importance of the soul, and that the soul is the most important part of matter existence. And that when you close the book, it is as if you are encountering an entirely new language, an entirely new way to relate to your own body, your own mind, your own spirit, and your own soul. That, to me, is the value of reading Theosophy. So what would this ever have to do with extraterrestrial biological entities? Well, now in 2019, as some of you who go to my Wednesday night YouTube channel that I do now on a weekly basis, I have done for the first time in my life more about this subject than I ever thought that I would be relating to other people, and it has been the feedback from the audiences around the world. I'm getting communications from all over the world of people saying, I've never told anybody this. And it has to do with out-of-body, has to do with what happens at the passing of a loved one. And all of it comes back to what is the relationship of the animating force of our mind and our soul and our spirit and our body. And that it may be that part of this big, huge story is that there are consciousnesses in this universe that do not have souls. And that we may have one of the most valuable diamonds in the cosmos that, ironically, in the 21st century, so many people in the Western world only give it lip service as if it were a Valentine, when it is the most important part of being a conscious being here. And that is what J. Allen Hynek's most important legacy was to me. And I hope in sharing this tonight with you and your audience that a lot of you will read Theosophy, not with the idea of revelation, but with the idea that maybe J. Allen Hynek had been exposed to what a bunch of us are being exposed to now.
Right.
That the extraterrestrial situation is one that involves other dimensions, other timelines, as well as our matter universe, and that we, humans, we may be something that was a shock to the genetic manipulators because we ended up with a strong soul.
Let's take a break right here, Linda. When we come back, we've got to talk about 2019 and disclosure. I want your thoughts on all of that. And Elon Musk and that famous tweet is absolutely, I mean, seriously. Yeah. So let's take a break right here. And there's two guys, that I would have loved to have interviewed, J. Allen Hynek and Lloyd Pye, right? And those are two guys that I didn't get a chance to interview and will never get a chance to. So thank you for sharing that, J. Allen Hynek insight with us in the audience. We'll take a break right here. Linda Moulton Howe is our guest. This is Fade to Black. Stay with us.
Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously, go Beckley Tappy. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I take Life Change Tea supplements every single day. It's what I do. click on their banner at jimmychurchradio.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of fade to black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hi, folks. CBD is the home run hitter for health right now. Why, you ask? Because of what it does for the body. Unfortunately, I can't tell you all about the benefit. You know, there's reasons. Do your due diligence and log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com. Ancient Life Oil uses organic ingredients and is blended in coconut oil for some of the best benefits. Legal in 50 states and non-psychoactive. Log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and my family is safe because of Numana Emergency Food Storage. Just go to the Numana banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code Jimmy10.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. Doing a little overtime with our guest tonight, Linda Moulton Howe. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio, and of course you can follow Linda at Earthfiles on Twitter. Now, Linda, here we are, 2019. I've got flowers hanging out of my pocket. I see the rainbows in front of us. But who would have thunk that disclosure would have gotten a kickstart by none other than Elon Musk? And that tweet.
I started laughing when it was January 5th, and somebody sent it to me in an email. Elon Musk tweet links Apollo 11 astronaut Neil Armstrong to alien presence. And this is what I posted at Earthfiles, and it was this tweet in which Elon Musk put out a picture of Neil Armstrong on the left and a very scowling, very menacing-looking gray on the right. So think of Neil Armstrong holding his astronaut helmet and with the moon in the background, and then on the right is this very, very, very mean-looking gray. And up at the top, Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla Motors and SpaceX, writes this: Neil Armstrong was the first person to land on the moon. Neil, A period, backwards, spells alien. And that is true. When that what he's saying is true. And then down below the photos Elon Musk, he says, there are no coincidences. And it's as if, it doesn't take much of 2 + 2 = 4. He's obviously been exposed to what I and others have been told, that we have known for a very long time, about an alien presence using our moon. And that is something that probably Elon Musk has had maybe even a briefing about, because he's the CEO of SpaceX. And that's going to be one of the companies that is going to help, if we're going to have a lunar base now with a space force, Elon Musk is going to be involved. And it's like, in a lot of different directions, these kinds of signals are coming more and more frequently, that there are a whole bunch of people just waiting for that official, we're not alone in this universe, we never have been. There are alien intelligences on our planet, under the surface of our planet, on the backside of the moon, inside of the moon, Mars, out through the Milky Way galaxy. And that it is not going to come maybe as big a shock, because everybody has been being conditioned about this for 70 years, going all the way back to the day the Earth stood still, was the Central Intelligence Agency's first planted script. We know this now, historically, and it was done through a cutout. Cutouts are companies that the CIA controls in Hollywood, and the day the Earth stood still was their first test of the American public to the concept of an extraterrestrial coming with a robot to Earth with the ability to shut down entire electric grids. And that what was the bottom line in the extraterrestrials' warning to the political government had to do with, you can't explode nuclear weapons.
And this is what I find fascinating with Elon and that tweet. If I don't see it as comedy. You're not going to take a crack at Neil Armstrong and make a joke like that. You're just not going to do it. That's the first thing. Second, he's got nearly 25 million followers. Now, our community is one thing, Linda. It's a big community. You've got your followers and your fan base out there, and this community is what it is. But none of us in this community has a 25 million follower base on Twitter, where you are now feeding this information out to. What is the message he is sending to them? That those 24 million followers, they don't know who Linda Moulton Howe is, or Jimmy Church, or Art Bell, right? It's a message that's being sent out beyond our community. What's the reason for doing that?
I think it's because he's an iconoclast. He's a rebel. He is a lone wolf. He always has been. And he has information, and to him, I can just the gestalt of the guy is just like you, I, and others feel. This is nuts to have everything so secret about something that is so important, and that his company and other companies that are going to be going to the moon, they're going to have to be dealing with exactly what that Navy special ops sent to me. This is not historic. That what I read to you from that special ops person that came after some of my postings. It was about here it is. This is December 2018. We're only at January 15th, 2019. So this is about 3 weeks ago. Quote, this is U.S. Navy Special Ops. We are indeed in conflict with various alien beings, some of which are cybernetic. We continue to lose many good men to this quiet conflict. Different types of alien craft have been located on Earth, the Moon, and on Mars. Some alien craft we still can't penetrate or board, close quote. Now, to soften this so that audiences, I don't feel any fear. I don't know anybody who feels fear about any of this. And why? The remote viewers, people who have worked in these agencies, they all say the same thing. There are friendlies that are allies. There are a lot of neutrals. And then there are some hostiles, which would be what this quote is about. But that the allies have been holding off the problems with any hostiles, probably because those that are friendly, they probably get metals, they get genetic material, they get whatever it is that they would be getting, like we trade with nations as a so-called industrialized surface life on Earth, that everybody has something that they're getting out of all of this, and that as long as we have allies and there are neutrals and they outweigh whatever it is out there that one man told me just 2 or 3 weeks ago, he said, Linda, the truth is we have skirmishes with UFOs. Well, a skirmish in terms of military lingo means something goes wrong. It's like conflict, but it's not war. Do you see the difference?
I do. It's a step down, it's just a skosh back, right?
Yeah.
I just reposted Elon's original tweet, and I just went to go look at it. Nearly 700,000 likes. 683,000, right? and for him to say there are no coincidences, it's not like he goes, there are no coincidences, LOL, right? He doesn't do that.
I know. And maybe this year, that the people who are placing bets that we're finally going to get that worldwide headline that we're not alone in the universe,
right?
Maybe this is going to be the year, because I just turn around and ask you, Jimmy, can you imagine us all on this planet going to 2020 without this becoming public breakthrough knowledge? We're not alone in this universe, and we never have. Can you imagine going beyond this year with that still not being broken open?
No, I really feel that this is the year that it's going to break out. There's just too much stuff now, and it's not only coming from this community, but it is the government, it's science, it's NASA, it's Hubble, it's I'm trying to think of the radio telescope in Argentina.
Well, there's Arecibo in Puerto Rico.
Arecibo in Puerto Rico.
Then the big one that's further south in the big dry desert.
Chime. It's called Chime in Argentina. That one, that's the one that has been nailing down these FSBs too as well. And I think it's science. It's this community and the military-industrial complex. It's all going to come to a head, and I'm very excited about this. Now, I wanted to ask you really quick, at Conscious Life Expo, what are you going to be speaking on this year?
One of the most important things that I have been doing is whistleblowers who have knowledge about ancient archaeology in Antarctica. And I have something extremely special that I am breaking open for the first time in Conscious Life Expo. I'm doing what is going on in the Antarctic, and that is a workshop that I do on Saturday, February 23rd, and it is extraordinary because I know what it is I'm going to be sharing. And I'm also very interested in something that I brought up in my Earthfiles YouTube channel a couple of months ago, and that was the whole question of how many people can remember, even if they've never told a human being, not their parents, not siblings, not a wife, a husband, no one. How many remember being between age 4 to around 6 or 7, floating up out of their body at night when they go to sleep, or they wake up, or it's going to sleep, or some variation? And I have a folder filled with some of the most extraordinary letters that I have ever read from my fellow human beings. And so I'm also going to be doing a post-conference, a special workshop on mysterious childhood out of travel experience. And then I'm on the Ancient Aliens panel, Chariots of the Gods. I'm on the Our Extraterrestrials, Stepping Up Our Evolution. And I think that is the greatest subject because hybrids are one of the big subjects on this planet now. How, if you look back in the history of evolving primates on Earth and how many there have been, and each one was replaced. Neanderthalensis was replaced by Cro-Magnon Homo sapiens sapien. Well, are we also in a wave of replacement? But can it be that it could be better? That the replacement isn't like an annihilation. It's an evolution in which the species hopefully becomes less tribal, less warring, less violent, stronger biologically to go into space, because the current human body is not made to go out into space. But maybe we're on an evolutionary track in which something is going to emerge that will be extremely bright and extremely strong, and my prayer will be that humans will always have strong souls.
You know, we just talked about J. Allen Hynek and his important place in history. And here we are. I can't even believe that we're doing this, but it's the 50th anniversary of Chariots of the Gods. And you just mentioned I'll be hosting the panel Friday night, and you'll be on that panel, of course. We're going to be doing Chariots of the Gods and with Eric Von Daniken. But how important, with this community and with the exposure of everything, is Eric Von Daniken and that book and the original film, Chariots of the Gods, to you personally and to the community? It's an extraordinary event, 50 years.
Well, and cheers, rah, for Eric Von Daniken, because he had the guts and he had the intelligence 50 years ago to lay out in a book what was the truth. And he got lambasted by scientists, he got lambasted by academics, he got lambasted all over the place. But the public just embraced that book, right? And it has ridden a wave for 50 years, and Chariots of the Gods resonates with human beings at some strange core level. And I think that's it. I mean, truth is truth when it's recognized, and that's what Eric did.
Yeah, the book today, in with anybody, I would hand it off to anyone, and the book is as readable today as when it was published back in 1968, 1969.
Yeah, it's become more relevant, not less.
That's right. I mean, what an achievement. What an achievement. And he is so much fun to sit down and talk to, and so approachable. And here we are. I can't even believe it, 2019. I remember giving you your award a couple of years ago at the same panel, by the way. At the same panel. And here we are. You and I will be doing this this year with Eric Von Daniken. I'm just so excited about that. It's going to be a great weekend.
Yes, and everybody listening, this isn't a community. This is our world of the human family. And every human on this planet deserves to know the truth about our real origins, our real relationship with other intelligences, because until that happens, humans being kept dumb and blind weakens all humans. And that's what we've got to break. Not a community that is small. We've got to make this, the entire world deserves the truth.
How do you think it's going to happen if you had your Linda Moulton Howe crystal ball out, right, and you're looking into this crystal ball? What's going to force disclosure in 2019? Is it going to be a document dumped from Anonymous, right, on WikiLeaks? Is it going to be an event in the sky? Is it what do you think is going to force the hand of disclosure in 2019?
It could come through China because they've got the Chang'e on the backside, and depending upon what the gray beings or any other beings decide that they want to do with humans going to an area where they have clearly warned the world away in the past, would they warn again, or will they embrace this, or will there be something that occurs and China will make the announcement? That would be very interesting, kind of a surprise, because for so long it has been just anticipated and expected that the United States of America would be the nation that would make this announcement. If there was going to be one, it would be the United States. And remember that there was that Nixon, Mao, Scott Jones was tasked by Senator Pell to go to China in the early 1970s, specifically to try to find out, with official State Department documents, what did China in the Mao atmosphere, what did they have in terms of craft, technology, bodies, all of that? And Scott Jones said they have everything. And that when he was getting ready to leave and had been shown so many things that were the hard evidence that the rest of the world would love to see, that he asked through his translator, you have everything that all humans want to see, the hard evidence. Why are you not announcing this to the world? And Scott Jones said that the political people assigned to him, the one that was the head or the spokesman, put his hands together in front of him and bowed to Scott Jones. And when he stood back up, he said, because we are waiting for the United States to act. Now, I asked Scott when I did an interview with him about this about 10 years ago. It's also at earthfiles.com. You just do a search at Earthfiles for Scott Jones, and you'll see this amazing interview we did about his China trip in the 70s. And the issue of why would China defer to the United States? And Scott and I ended up talking about, could it possibly be that when Richard Nixon went to China and had that meeting with Mao, that what they were actually communicating about was the extraterrestrial alien presence?
Fascinating.
And that they may have made a decision privately with China. Maybe Nixon asked, because Nixon was learning about UFOs and ETs from Eisenhower.
That's right.
We've got all kinds of documentation on that. And that it may have been that Nixon was saying, we in the United States would appreciate being allowed to continue the work that we are doing with these beings, and that we would like to have an agreement that you will wait until we are ready to make an announcement. And I can imagine some kind of a discussion like that going on between Nixon and Mao. And then here we are, 2019, and we still haven't had the revelation. Well, maybe Xi and China will decide that having the backside and whatever, who knows what they're going to end up with proof, that they would make the announcement. And maybe they've been waiting all this time because of the original Nixon request, and now maybe they've decided it doesn't count anymore or it doesn't matter. And so I can imagine that China could end up making that announcement. Russia could end up making that announcement. Everybody's got craft and bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And that what would happen if the United States loses its edge in all matters related to space?
Yeah, but we don't hold all the cards that we used to. You know, it's really simple. It's not that kind of party anymore.
Well, what is there secretly? See, the big secret space program, I believe, is a huge, huge truth.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I'm saying...
We don't know.
Yeah, Linda, I guess what I'm saying is, what is it that we would hold over Russia or China right now as power cards, as trump cards? Ooh, I didn't mean it like that, but I didn't mean it like... You know what I mean? There isn't a reason for them to have to answer to us now. They obviously, China's landing on the dark side of the moon now, right? They're doing whatever they want to do. So you might be right.
India is going to be up on the moon, and there's going to be a lot because one of the things about the South Pole area, the Shackleton crater, that region, it is the place on the moon where I believe it's something like 96% of the year of a time, there's always sunlight there. And that means that you could set up solar energy at the South Pole of the moon, which is where Chang'e went. They went to the South Pole. India, Japan, China, Russia, the United States, the countries that are wanting to have territory on the moon and have permanent bases. We're not the only one who wants to have a permanent base. So suddenly all of the geopolitical sensitivities, conflicts, and some collaborations that are on the Earth's surface are going to be in the South Pole of the moon. And when you start looking at the future and realizing that we're carrying our geopolitical territorial conflicts of humans with us to the moon, unless something drastically changed. Now, what could drastically change? This is just putting another piece on this very complex chessboard for people to think about. Lynn Buchanan, on Phenomenon Radio 3 years ago, I believe it was, told John Burroughs and me that in his work for the Defense Intelligence Agency, having to do with the controlled remote viewers who were there in the remote viewing project, that everybody was tasked with, is there other life, other consciousness in the universe? And in their Project Stargate, they all came up with that the universe is teeming with consciousness and life. And then Lynn really surprised us. He said, one of our bosses that would have been DIA back at the end of the 80s, that's when Project Stargate was next door to Fort Meade's very shiny NSA building, that they, one of his bosses, just in the last decade or so, got back in touch with Lynn Buchanan, who lives down in Alamogordo, south of me. And that Lynn told us on the air, and I talked with him about this also, that his old boss is now the manager of interstellar trade routes in an office in the Pentagon. And he said to John and me, he says, I'm not kidding. And he said, it's my understanding that the gray beings, the ones known as the Ebens, they would sometimes perhaps deliberately create a crash to put technology in our hands, and that they would then come back and monitor what we did with technology, like they would seed, like they were seeding us. They were like breadcrumbs for us to follow. And then we would follow, and we would make things out of what they had left, and they really liked what we made. And that eventually in communication, what they wanted are some of the things that we were back engineering, and that was part of this interstellar trade route. And whatever all the details are, and if they will all be ever confirmed, here is, to me, the big bottom line. There is something exciting about the idea that we've already gone into interstellar trade. If Lynn and what he's saying from this manager, this is not remote viewing, this is what they talked about. And it also ties in to Gary McKinnon. Remember back in 2002?
Sure.
When he doesn't like the word hacked. He stumbled into one of our Intel computers by his poor modem in England. And what was he looking at? He was looking at a spreadsheet on, I think it was an Air Force base or something. It's been so long, I don't remember exactly where it was, but it had a title on it that he wrote down: non-terrestrial navigators, and that it appeared to have something to do with outer space. And so and that goes back to, I think it was 2002. I know it was public by 2002. So if this is another one of the big secrets, maybe we've got treaties where some of the allies come and they get gold, or they get molybdenum, or they get, who knows. But that we actually are on a planet that has been left in the dark, purposefully left out of an equation in which a minority of the planet is actually working in interstellar trade. My God, it's so schizophrenic that it numbs the mind to contemplate that we're all on the same planet with those kinds of different realities. And I just think it has to come into one story. We have to stop living on a concocted planet of lies.
And the whole interstellar travel, and you know what, race, we just went over the network feed, but so race is just like freaking out right now, but that's tough.
Oh, we're supposed to be through.
Yeah, that's just tough. This is the thing. It goes back to what Betty Hill had said with her original star map, and how they presented her with trade routes, and that they've been doing this forever.
Yes. And, man, I find that exciting, not scary. And if there are hostiles out there, I want to know who the hostiles are and why. But I want the world to have the emphasis on we have allies and there are neutrals. And that we're still here, and somebody's been helping us for a long time, and we need to grow up and understand what this universe is really about.
You know what? And I want a T-shirt from Zeta Reticuli. I'll trade a Fade to Black shirt for a Zeta Reticuli T-shirt. You'll trade an Earthfiles T-shirt for one, wouldn't you?
Well, and I'll bring you one of my T-shirts I now have that is my mantra: down with entropy. That's where energy and everything goes to hatred and conflict and war and zero. And up with light, Jimmy. That's where we all need to be going. And that is where outer space could finally pull us away from all of the tribal wars on Earth. If we know that we're not alone, and that there is a huge, huge bell shape of so many different types of intelligences. Oh, to join that, to search, to evolve, to travel, to make Earth back to be a garden again.
Thank you so much, Linda. And I'm size extra large, and I will.
All right. I'll get you one.
I'll bring one. Of course, you know where to come and find me at Conscious Life, and we'll do the trade. We'll do it live on stage. Right. Thank you so much, Linda. Keep rolling that rock uphill, and we'll see you next month at the Conscious Life Expo. Thank you so much.
God bless.
Linda Moulton Howe. Earthfiles, earthfiles.com. The links, of course, are over at Jimmy Church Radio. You can click right there. And thank you, Race, for letting us do this little overtime tonight. But it is Linda, and that's what we have to do. You can follow Linda on Twitter at Earthfiles. Fade to Black's executive producer is Rita Camarion. Show is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Viteau, and Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. It's broadcast owned and copyrighted 2019 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Dew Sky says to say hi to Fluffy and Chocolate. Linda Moulton Howe's cats. I'll see everybody tomorrow night. Our guest is Dr. Robert M. Schock. Until then, everybody be safe. Go Beckley Tepe.